Hello fellow gamers. Welcome back to our channel. 2022 was an incredible year for the gaming industry, with a plethora of game releases that took our breath away. Today we're going to take a journey back in time and revisit the top 30 games of 2022 that left an indelible mark on our gaming experiences. Let's dive into this epic gaming countdown. Elden Ring is a hardcore RPG developed by From Software. It merges the combat and lore of the famous Dark Souls games with a more developed narrative and open-world map. The game is set in a vast, sad world of big trees, beasts, and magic. You play as a tarnished of no renown, blessed by grace. You are compelled to make the journey to the lands between and become an Elden Lord. The grand story is hard to fully digest on a first playthrough. The game rewards your curiosity with interesting encounters, valuable rewards, or something even greater. It seamlessly weaves a full-on Dark Souls game into the middle of it. The game is challenging at times, vicious at others, but mostly incredibly fun. The enjoyable pace makes the hours of play pass by like water. Each path opens up a few more, only to come together again after a fair amount of exploration. The game is huge in comparison to the previous games. It reaches new heights, but spends too much time in familiar From Software territory. It is considered one of the highest-rated games of all time. Horizon Forbidden West is a captivating sequel to the 2017's Horizon Zero Dawn. It builds on the original's intense combat and offers an open world full of compelling characters, an intriguing story, and more super awesome robot dinosaurs. The game is set in a post-apocalyptic world filled with quests and technological mysteries. The protagonist, Aloy, is a complex combination of human and synthetic life. Her journey is packed with mystery and numerous twists and turns. The game offers a rich, compelling world that rewards you for the effort you put into it. It features a beautiful array of diversity, including non-binary representation and characters with disabilities. Despite some familiar elements, the game feels like an evolution, with each quest having a depth and breadth that's consistently surprising. The game is a fantastic showcase of enthralling combat, top-tier creature and character design, and a captivating open world.
Stray is a captivating third-person adventure game developed by Blue 12 Studio and published by Annapurna Interactive. The game is set in a decaying cyber city, teeming with curious droids and dangerous creatures. You play as a stray cat, lost and separated from family, navigating the neon-lit alleys of the city and its seedy underbelly. The cat's journey involves untangling an ancient mystery to escape this long-forgotten city. The gameplay is immersive, allowing you to leap across platforms, climb obstacles, and interact with the environment in playful ways. You can be stealthy, nimble, and sometimes as annoying as possible with the strange inhabitants of this mysterious world. Along the way, the cat befriends a small flying drone, known only as B-12. With B-12's help, they must find a way out. The game's aesthetics were influenced by Kowloon Walled City, which the developers felt could be appropriately explored by a cat. Stray offers a unique perspective, allowing you to see the world through the eyes of a cat. Ghostwire Tokyo is an action-adventure game developed by Tango Gameworks and published by Bethesda Softworks. The game is set in a fictionalized version of Tokyo, which has been overrun by supernatural entities. The protagonist, a boy named Akito, is possessed by a spirit after a fatal car accident. This spirit grants Akito various abilities, allowing him to fight against the specters, investigate the disappearances of Tokyo's population, and save his family. The game is played from a first-person perspective and features a mission-based structure. Players navigate through linear, narrative-driven environments around Tokyo. Akito's spiritual possession grants him combat-based skills, which can be used offensively against standard enemies and larger boss encounters. The game also includes side missions that provide further context on the game's world and characters. God of War Ragnarok is an action-adventure game developed by Santa Monica Studio and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. This game marks the first cross-gen release in the God of War series. The game is set in ancient Scandinavia and features series protagonist, Kratos, and his now teenage son, Atreus. The game covers Ragnarok, the eschatological event central to Norse mythology. The gameplay is similar to the previous 2018 installment, featuring combo-based combat, puzzle, and role-playing elements. Kratos acquires a magical spear and his shield becomes more versatile, with different types of shields having differing offensive and defensive abilities. Atreus, as well as some other characters, provide assistance in combat and can be passively controlled. For the first time in the series, there are some story missions where the player takes full control of Atreus.
The Callisto Protocol is a survival horror game developed by Striking Distance Studios and published by Krafton. The game is set on Jupiter's moon Callisto in the year 2320. Players assume the role of Jacob Lee, an inmate at Black Iron Prison. After surviving a crash landing on Callisto, Jacob is captured and incarcerated against his will in a high-security prison. A mysterious illness sweeps the prison, forcing Jacob to fight for survival. As he navigates through the chaos, he gradually uncovers the dark secrets of his captors. The gameplay involves exploring a series of levels, gathering resources, and collecting data logs while fighting off infected prisoners. Jacob's health is indicated by an implant on the back of his neck called a CORE device. Health can be replenished with injectable packs found throughout levels. Jacob can use weapons to combat enemies as well as a melee system to dodge enemy attacks while looking for openings to strike and kill them. Both combat styles can be mixed up, providing greater variety when facing enemy types. The Quarry is an interactive drama survival horror adventure game developed by Supermassive Games and published by 2K Games. The game is set in the remote forests of upstate New York at Hackett's Quarry Summer Camp. Players control the fates of 9 teenage camp counselors who find themselves stranded for one more night at the camp. Their party plans unravel into an unpredictable night of horror. The gameplay is cinematic and played from a third-person perspective. Players must make difficult decisions that can change character development, the plot, and the relationships between characters. All 9 playable characters may survive or die, depending on the player's decisions. The game features supernatural creatures and violent locals. The player's vigilance in finding evidence and clues determines the game's conclusion. The game has 186 different endings, affected by player choices and performances in QuickTime events.
The Last of Us Part 1 is a post-apocalyptic game developed by Naughty Dog. It's a potent mix of stealth, survival, and slaughter. The game is set in a well-crafted world and is revered for its haunting storytelling. The game has been remastered for the PS5, delivering astonishing new levels of detail and fluidity in its fully rebuilt world, characters, and animations. It also includes a remarkable array of accessibility options. The story, including the short prequel Left Behind, remains as strong, captivating, and shocking as ever. It weaves together themes of despair, selfishness, and misery, but also kindles the embers of hope, redemption, and love. Despite being a remake of an already fabulous remaster, it is considered the definitive way for solo players to experience this modern classic. However, it's missing the original's multiplayer mode.
Sifu is a thrilling beat-em-up game developed and published by Slocklap. The game is set in modern-day China and puts you in control of a young kung fu student on a path of revenge. The protagonist seeks vengeance on those responsible for their father's death. The game is played from a third-person perspective and is inspired by Bak Mei Kung Fu. It includes over 150 unique attacks. Basic attack moves can be chained together, with some combos granting players additional tactical opportunities. Sifu is a run-based action game. The environment can be used to your advantage, with throwable objects, makeshift weapons, windows, and ledges. The odds are stacked against you, so you'll need to use everything at your disposal to prevail. When the player dies, they are magically resurrected at the spot where they die and age several years. As the player character ages, their strikes will be more powerful, but they will have less health.
Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is an action role-playing first-person shooter video game developed by Gearbox Software and published by 2K. It's a spin-off in the Borderlands series and a sequel to Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragonkeep. The game is set within the world of a fantasy-themed tabletop role-playing game. In this game, you embark on an epic adventure full of whimsy, wonder, and high-powered weaponry. You can roll your own multi-class hero, then shoot, loot, slash, and cast on a quest to stop the Dragon Lord. The game is available for Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4 and PC. The game world is unpredictable and chaotic, guided by the disorderly Tiny Tina. It features outlandish monsters and loot-filled dungeons. A Plague Tale: Requiem is an action-adventure stealth video game developed by Asobo Studio and published by Focus Entertainment. It is the sequel to A Plague Tale: Innocence. The game continues the story of siblings Amisha and Hugo de Rune as they journey across province to find a cure for Hugo's condition. The siblings must flee from soldiers of the Inquisition and hordes of rats that are spreading the Black Plague. Players control Amisha, the older sister, who must navigate through both beautiful and dystopian areas, evade a tsunami of plague rats, and sneak or fight her way through an army of soldiers, all to save her brother. The game features a narrative-driven, single-player mode. Crisis Core: Final Fantasy VII Reunion is an HD remaster of the original Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII game. The game is an action role-playing game set in the universe of Final Fantasy VII. It primarily focuses on Zack Fair, a young member of the paramilitary organization Soldier. Zack, along with his seniors Angeal and Sephiroth, is sent on a mission to investigate the mass disappearance of his fellow soldier operatives. The game features new models and lighting, redone voices for consistency with the Final Fantasy VII Remake project, and rearranged music. The graphics are redone in high fidelity, and the interface resembles that of Final Fantasy VII Remake in appearance, using the power of Unreal Engine 4. Many characters, creatures, and objects have been redesigned to match their Final Fantasy VII Remake counterparts.
Lost Ark is a 3D fantasy MMORPG developed by Smilegate RPG. The game is set in a world at peace, but on the brink of a deadly war. The story centers around the search for 7 lost pieces of the Ark, an item that powers the Order of Light and has the power to defeat evil. The Ark was divided amongst 7 gods, and players role-play as the chosen hero to find and reassemble the Ark to help drive out the darkness. The game features action RPG-style combat and a huge world to explore. Using the Unreal Engine, the game presents a beautifully illustrated world of epic proportions. The game offers a variety of classes and trade skills, and includes main quests, world quests, and Una's tasks. The game also features battle dungeons, guardian raids, sailing, and stronghold. The game is multiplayer, allowing a large number of players to interact and cooperate in defeating the evil.
Gotham Knights is an open-world, action RPG set in the most dynamic and interactive Gotham City yet. Developed by WB Games Montreal and published by Warner Bros. Games, the game was released on October 21, 2022. The premise of the game is that Batman is dead and a new expansive, criminal underworld has swept the streets of Gotham City. It's up to the Batman family, Batgirl, Nightwing, Red Hood, and Robin, to protect Gotham, bring hope to its citizens, discipline to its cops, and fear to its criminals. Players must solve mysteries that connect the darkest chapters in the city's history and defeat notorious villains in epic confrontations. They can patrol Gotham's 5 distinct boroughs and drop in on criminal activity wherever they find it. The game can be played in either solo play or with one other hero. Each character has their own unique playstyle and abilities. For example, Robin can teleport via the Justice League satellite. Players can level up their characters and use vehicles such as the Batcycle to explore the city. The game features a cooperative online multiplayer mode, allowing 2 players to play through the single-player campaign together.
Scorn is a first-person puzzle game that takes players on a journey through the ruins of a dead civilization. The game's aesthetic, inspired by H.R. Giger and Harlan Ellison's I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, creates a disturbing and unsettling atmosphere. The game's world is a blend of flesh and machine, with architecture and puzzle contraptions that are both fascinating and unpleasant. The game forces players to closely examine this imagery to understand why the world is in its current state. Scorn's gameplay involves moderately challenging puzzles that feel like a mechanical engineering exam. The puzzles involve mechanical parts that fit together and require players to understand their workings. Saints Row is an action-adventure game developed by Volition and published by Deep Silver. It is a reboot of the Saints Row series and the 5th main installment following 2013's Saints Row 4. The game is set within the fictional city of Santo Ileso, loosely based on Las Vegas. The single-player story follows a group of 4 friends who start their own outlaw gang called the Saints. They subsequently expand by seizing power from other criminal organizations in the city. The game is played from a third-person view and its open world is navigated on foot or by vehicle. Players can fight enemies using a variety of firearms and other tools and call in non-playable gang members to assist them. Players control the gang's leader, nicknamed the Boss, who features highly customizable traits. Outside of the main story, players can freely explore Santo Ileso and engage in several different side activities. Metal Hellsinger is a unique blend of rhythm and FPS gameplay. Developed by Swedish developer The Outsider. In the game, you play as the Unknown, a character who is part human, part demon, and obsessed with vengeance. Your journey takes you through the fiercest domains of hell. The game features an epic storyline, narrated by award-winning actor Troy Baker. The gameplay is heavily influenced by the rhythm of metal music. Your ability to shoot on the beat directly impacts both the damage you deal and how awesome the music sounds. The more in sync you are with the rhythm, the more intense the music becomes and the more destruction you cause. The game features music created specifically for the game by composer duo Two Feathers, with vocals by metal icons such as Serge Tankian, Randy Blythe, Alyssa Whitegloves, and many more. It's a rhythm FPS bursting with demons, badass weapons, and heavy metal music. Dying Light 2: Stay Human is an action role-playing survival horror video game developed and published by Techland. It is a sequel to the original Dying Light. The game is set in a post-apocalyptic city overrun by zombies. Players assume the role of Aiden Caldwell, an infected survivor with various parkour skills. The game is mostly melee-based, with the majority of fighting using melee weapons. Weapons can be upgraded with different blueprints and components. The game features a zombie apocalyptic-themed open world. Players can perform actions such as climbing ledges, sliding, leaping off from edges, and wall running to quickly navigate the city. Tools such as a grappling hook and a paraglider also aid traversal in the city.
Trek to Yomi is a side-scrolling action game developed by Flying Wild Hog and published by Devolver Digital. Set during the Edo period of feudal Japan, the game follows a young swordsman named Hiroki who embarks on a quest of vengeance when his home village is burned. This leads him to enter Yomi, the Japanese underworld, and confront the evils of his past. The game features intense combat encounters, light exploration, and a striking presentation. There are 2 modes of melee attack. Light attacks are fast but weak, and heavy attacks are slow but strong. A well-timed block will break an enemy guard, giving players an opportunity to counterattack. New weapons such as Ozutsu, bow shurikens, and ranged weapons like bows and arrows unlock as the player progresses in the game. The game also features bosses, mythological creatures, and other supernatural elements. While the game is set in the Edo period, it also features a cinematic mode which lowers the game's difficulty level. Once the player completes the game once, they will unlock an extra difficulty mode in which the player character would die immediately when they are hit.
High on Life is a first-person shooter game that is filled with comedy and action. The game is set in a world where Earth has been taken over by aliens who kidnap humans to be smoked as hallucinogenic drugs. The game's protagonist embarks on a space odyssey to get revenge against the extraterrestrial drug cartel responsible. The weapons, known as Gatlians, are the stars of the show. They are not only tools of destruction but also the story's most important characters. The game is filled with absurd situations and constant banter. One level features an intentionally irritating alien who follows you around until you finally unlock the ability to murder him. Another level makes you go to Space Applebee's and have a full meal for no apparent reason.
Need for Speed Unbound is a racing video game developed by Criterion Games and published by Electronic Arts. The game is the 25th installment in the Need for Speed series. Set in a fictional city called Lakeshore City, inspired by Chicago, the game features an open-world environment with gameplay mainly focused around street racing. The player assumes the role of a character who refurbishes an old junker car. The game features an art style that merges artistic elements like cell shading and graffiti art. Utilizing the Frostbite engine, the game delivers 4K 60 frames per second visuals and features real-world environments with stylized graphical effects accompanying the usual cars, races, and police pursuits. The game includes a single-player mode and a multiplayer mode. The game allows players to challenge the authority of the city's police force, participate in street race meetups, escape from cops, and make a living driving people. Call of Duty: Modern Warfare 2 is a first-person shooter video game developed by Infinity Ward and published by Activision. The game is a sequel to the 2019 reboot game and serves as the 19th installment in the overall Call of Duty series. The campaign follows multinational Special Operations Unit Task Force 141 and Mexican Special Forces Unit Los Vaqueros as they attempt to track down terrorist leader Hassan Zyani, who is in possession of American-made ballistic missiles. The game introduces several design improvements and changes to the series' gameplay, such as advanced AI systems in the campaign and co-op modes, water physics, swimming mechanics, and an overhauled vehicle system. New gameplay features and movement tactics include dive to prone, mantle, and ledge hang along with the removal of slide canceling. The game also features a free-to-play Battle Royale mode, Warzone 2.0, a follow-up to the original Warzone, all within a single cross-game launcher, known as Call of Duty HQ. The leveling and gunsmith system has been revamped, allowing players to fine-tune specific attachments to suit their playstyles.
Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Extraction is a thrilling co-op shooter game that takes the series to its wildest frontiers. The game transports your special ops veteran into a parallel dimension to face off against mutated versions of fellow operators from the Rainbow Six Siege cast. Extraction is a spin-off from the original Rainbow Six Siege, and it introduces a new enemy, the Archaeans, zombified parasitic aberrations. The game is set in a world where massive onyx obelisks have emerged globally, causing a grotesque insurgency. The gameplay is tactical and stealth is key. You and your team delve deep into the underbelly of this insurgency, aiming to take down the demons in silence to avoid unleashing the latent mob lurking behind every corner. The game offers a slower-paced environment than Siege's competitive matches, allowing players to enjoy Siege's unique gunplay while aiming at slower, less intelligent NPCs. Evil West is a third-person shooter game developed by Flying Wild Hog and published by Focus Entertainment. In the game, players assume control of Jesse Rentier, a vampire hunter equipped with several powerful firearms and a specialized gauntlet capable of accumulating electrical energy. Enemies can be stunned and staggered following a melee attack, and players can execute enemies using a special finisher move. The environment can be used to the player's advantage, and the game features boss characters with unique attack patterns. As the player progresses, they level up and gain skills and abilities. The campaign can be played cooperatively with another player. The game has 16 missions that take roughly 10 to 15 hours to complete. Jesse Rentier is one of the last agents of a top-secret vampire hunting institute and must protect the American frontier from supernatural monstrosities. The game allows players to become a Wild West superhero, eradicate the vampire threat, and save the United States. The game features visceral, explosive combat against bloodthirsty monstrosities. Gran Turismo 7 is a remarkable entry in the long-standing Gran Turismo series, setting a high bar for future racing simulators. The game is a celebration of car culture, offering a variety of game modes and a plethora of cars and tracks. The game's stunning graphics, paired with slick presentation and best-in-class racing sim gameplay, make it a satisfying racer. The game is both more accessible and more challenging than before, making it a great experience for both newcomers and veterans. Gran Turismo 7 introduces a new feature, the Gran Turismo Café, which serves as a hub for assigning races and tasks. This feature gradually introduces new drivers to the mechanics of the game, from earning licenses to customizing and racing cars. The game also offers a progression system that rewards players with a decent collection of cars. Sniper Elite 5 is a stealth action game that takes players deep into the heart of enemy territory. The game's protagonist, Carl Fairburn, is back on the hunt, shifting the series' established blend of espionage and X-ray executions to 1944 France. The game offers large-scale stealth sandboxes, with each mission providing a variety of objectives. However, the storyline is straightforward and lacks complexity. The gameplay has seen decent improvements, particularly in the sniping mechanism. The detailed shooting camera for each correct assassination encourages players to adopt the method of stealth and concealment. The game's 8 different environments take good advantage of Fairburn's expanded movement set, offering multiple entry points to each facility. You also have a new focus ability that allows you to spot enemies through walls to avoid potential ambushes. Marvel's Midnight Suns is a tactical RPG set in the darker, supernatural side of the Marvel Universe. Developed by the creators of XCOM, this game brings a new twist to the superhero genre. As the Hunter, a legendary demon slayer with a mysterious past, you lead a team of iconic Marvel heroes. These include Iron Man, Ghost Rider, Wolverine, and others, who unite to stop the Mother of Demons from completing an ancient prophecy. The gameplay is unique, combining card-based tactical battles with RPG elements. Your decisions and strategies can influence the outcome of each battle, adding a layer of depth and complexity. The game features characters from multiple Marvel Comics properties, such as Midnight Suns, Avengers, X-Men, and Runaways. You can customize your hero, the Hunter, with a choice of over 40 different powers. LEGO Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga is a delightful addition to the LEGO game series, offering both adventure and excitement. It features stunning set pieces from all 9 mainline Star Wars films and a vast number of iconic planet hubs to explore. The game provides a fresh perspective with a tighter, over-the-shoulder third-person view. This new perspective enhances the combat system, making lightsaber attacks and force pushes feel satisfyingly precise. The game's charm is evident in its humor, with every cutscene featuring visual gags or punchlines at the film series' expense. This sense of humor, reminiscent of the classic Star Wars parody Spaceballs, centers the experience. The Skywalker Saga covers all the ground of previous games in the series, including The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker in LEGO form for the first time. It's a grab bag of different gameplay styles, all lent just enough depth to make them work. V Rising uniquely combines elements of survival and action RPG genres. Set in a world where you play as a newly resurrected vampire, the game introduces deforesting and crafting mechanics, which may seem unusual for a vampire-themed game. Despite the time-consuming crafting aspects, the game shines with its excellent boss design and respectable ARPG combat. The game's progression is tied to crafted gear, and gathering resources can be slow. However, the game allows you to adjust resource yields and refining speeds for a more tolerable experience. The game has been praised for its vampire aesthetic and the ARPG mechanics. The progression and base building are intuitively designed and feature some depth. The game distinguishes itself from other survival games by layering complex systems inspired by vampire mythology. The game found a perfect balance of building, combat, some lore, and exploration. It has been highly recommended for RPG fans and vampire fans alike. MultiVersus is free-to-play crossover platform fighting game. Developed by Player First Games and published by Warner Bros. Games, it features content from franchises owned by Warner Bros. Discovery. In MultiVersus, players battle on different stages, attempting to knock the opponent beyond the stage's boundary by dealing sufficient damage. It brings together a gaggle of characters from the Warner Bros. Universe in bouncing and jumping battles. You can team up with or against your friends using some of the world's most iconic characters including Batman, Shaggy, Superman, Bugs Bunny, and more. The game offers a wild jamboree of iconic characters throwing down in wonderfully weird ways. You can pair Marvin the Martian and Arya Stark or Velma with Batman. It's a roller coaster of fun and a universe of endless possibilities.